Hello friends, family, and internet strangers, Stephanie here, and if you are in need of some last minute easy cookie ideas, I have got you covered. Although, fair warning, if you bake anything like I do, your kitchen might look like something exploded by the time you're done. First up, Ginettes. Some people call these Italian wedding cookies. I've always called these Ginettes. They are little light puffy clouds of yummy goodness, and I highly recommend these. I am making them two ways. This first batch that I am making, I am doing with almond extract, and then the second batch that I did off camera, I did the exact same thing, but the second time around I used lemon extract instead. And the way I differentiated between them, when I decorated them, I used different colors in the icing. I used a little bit of food coloring, but I'll show you that a little bit later on. First thing I'm doing is mixing together all of my dry ingredients so they are ready, and I will have the recipe linked below because I did follow a recipe exactly from a website, so I will have that as well as any other links posted in the description box below. Next up, I am starting on my wet ingredients. I let my butter sit out for a few hours. I knew I was going to be baking all day on this day, so I decided to just start my day with taking butter out of the fridge, and I left it out for about 2 to 3 hours. So here is that almond extract going in, and then once I've got all of my wet ingredients in, I am going to start mixing them together. Now, if you are new, welcome. I hope you will consider sticking around and joining my YouTube community. But if you have been around for a little while, you may remember a few weeks ago I had my mashed potato fail. These are the beaters that I broke attempting to make my mashed potatoes, but I decided, there's only one piece that's broken. I will try and see if I can use them again. This was the end, the official end of these beaters. I got those nice and frothy, beating them for about 2 minutes before I started adding in all the dry ingredients, but you're going to see the point where I give up on the beaters in just a second here because they started making a little bit of a loud noise. I decided, okay, I'm close enough to done that I can just finish this by hand. So goodbye, nice $12 home goods beaters. I will miss you. I only got to use you twice. I'm going to roll these up. This is a fairly sticky dough, so I do have a little bit of flour on my hands, and once these are all done, I'm going to put them in the refrigerator. That way they hold their shape and become these beautiful clouds after they have sat in the refrigerator and then end up looking gorgeous after about 10 to 12 minutes of baking, depending on your oven. Next up, I am doing the icing. So again, this is the one with the almond extract. The lemon one, exactly the same, but with lemon extract instead. So I waited until my cookies were completely cool, and then I did not get it on camera, but I did add a little bit of red food coloring to about 3/4 of this icing, and then I dunked all of these in. I did get that part on camera though. So it turned out a little bit pink, but that's okay. Pink is still festive. People know what you're going for when it turns pink instead of red. And then for this, I drizzled a little bit of white over the top of it, but once they dried, you really couldn't see the white as much at all. And then for the green ones, I did white icing with a green drizzle, and that was a nightmare, mainly because my icing for the lemon did not turn out as nice and smooth as this one did, so it looked a little bit rough. It looked a little bit rocky. I'll let y'all take a look at that. Yeah, not my best work. They tasted amazing though. Next up, I have got some peanut butter blossoms. And I love peanut butter blossoms. They're really simple, but these turned out so well when I made them a week ago for my coworkers that I had to make them again. But watch what happened here. I'll wait. It went a little too hard and it knocked the camera over, but I think that's what makes them so good is that I beat these on a high speed and they got nice and airy. A few of my coworkers were still talking about these 2 days later. I was like, y'all, are you just trying to be really nice or were you really that impressed? Because they're peanut butter blossoms. I know so many people that make these. They were like, I don't know what it is. So I wonder if that's it or the fact that I refrigerated the dough even though the recipe didn't necessarily say you had to. I did it anyways, and these turned out really well. When I made them this time though, I did 2 trays again, but one of my trays for some reason burned and the other one didn't. While these are in the fridge and in the oven, I unwrap all of my Reese's. This is also what makes them so good. I use Reese's instead of Hershey's. And then after they have baked for a little while, I am going to put those Reese's on top. Because I do a kind of bigger cookie, these did take longer than the recipe called for. Recipe said 6 to 8 minutes and then another 2 to 3. I did 10 and then another 2, and they turned out perfectly. Next up, I'm going to show y'all 2 different cake mix cookies that I love to make. These are really simple. You use a box of cake mix, 2 eggs, and a half a cup of oil. And you can do this with any cake mix and any mix-ins and follow this same recipe. You put it in at 350 for about 10 to 12 minutes, and they turn out great no matter what mix-ins you put in. And this is also something that you can beat by hand really easily just by mixing this together. So this is how I make most of my cookies, is using cake mix. The 2 different kinds that I am making on this particular day are my Andes mint ones and my Mexican hot chocolate ones. For the Andes mint ones, it is simply the chocolate cake mix with the eggs and the oil, and I am scooping this out and letting it cook for 10 to 12 minutes. In the meantime, I have unwrapped my Andes and putting half of an Andes on each of these, and then putting them back in the oven for about 1 more minute to let it melt a little bit. And then when these come out of the oven, I take a spoon, and with the back of the spoon, I swirl it, and it turns the Andes candy into a nice little icing. When you let it cool completely, it does harden up. You can stack these on top of each other, and they're really good. The next ones I'm making are a Mexican hot chocolate cookie. So these ones are going to be a little bit different. The main difference is that before I add in my wet ingredients, I'm adding in 1 teaspoon of chili powder and 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing as I did before. Do y'all have any cookie recipes that you have to have every year around the holidays, or it's not the holidays? For me, it's really the Ginettes, the Andes mint ones, and some form of peanut butter cookie. It doesn't have to be peanut butter blossoms, although I do love those. And these have been within the past maybe 3 years I've started doing Mexican hot chocolate cookies, and I absolutely love them. So instead of putting Andes candies on these, after they are done in the oven, I put a few little mini marshmallows on the top, and then when I put it back in, I put it under the broiler and just keep an eye on it. I don't want it to burn. I just want a little bit of golden brown on the top. They have a little kick and they're perfect. Now it is time to box these all up because I am certainly not eating all of these by myself. I mean, I could, but it would take a while. So these are my cute little packages that I gave to my managers and some of my coworkers at work. I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and if you did, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button down below if you haven't already. Thank you so much to all of you for watching. I thank you all for all of your support, and I hope you all have a wonderful holiday. I hope y'all have a Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, and I hope y'all are staying safe. Thanks so much for watching.